part one of three in a series of videos that I want to make for you on how to create the perfect fat loss diet. Because I know, like, if you've been stuck at home, if you've been in quarantine the past, I don't know, 3 months, I guess now, more than likely, despite having probably a little bit more time, a little bit more flexibility, you probably started to gain a little bit of weight, right? Because what happens when you're in a stressful situation and you're surrounded by food and there's uncertainty and there's like all sorts of things coming at you at once? What is the first thing you start to do? Well, you start to eat more, especially being at home where there's probably more access to food all day. There's probably an emergency storage of food and whatnot. I've been talking to a lot of people who gained, anywhere from 5 to even 20, 25 pounds over the past few months. And there's this desire now to start getting back in shape, start losing fat, start figuring out, hey, what do I do to get this weight off? And so I thought I would put together a 3-part series on how to set up the perfect fat loss diet. So there is no questions on how to set up the diet. There is no, wondering, what do I do? Where do I start? This is going to map everything out for you. So today is day 1. Over the next two days after today, I'll map out parts 2 and 3. But today I want to give you the basics so that you start to understand how to formulate a fat loss diet that's going to work for you. All right. Because ultimately, and we're going to talk about this in a second, ultimately, everyone's going to be slightly different when it comes to what works and what doesn't. But there are some baseline rules that everybody can adhere to that will ultimately make your life so much easier. Okay. So let's talk about the basics. All right. Number 1, because the basics are where everybody tends to trip up, miss the boat, and completely ignore some of the things that are super crucial in terms of fat loss. So if you're watching live, please leave a comment. Let me know you're out there. Let me know that you're watching, where you're watching from, if this stuff makes sense. We're going to jump into it. I'm going to give people a few seconds here to jump on, and we're going to rock and roll. Okay. So let's get this party started. Hey, what's up, Scottish Crypto? How you doing? Glasgow, nice. Scotland, right? I used to live in Scotland. Cool. So wherever you're watching, let me know if you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube watching this. But this is going to be super beneficial. So get ready to take just a little bit of notes if you want. But this will be posted, so you don't have to worry about it. You can come back and watch it. But let's jump into the basics. Okay. What is the first thing to consider when we talk about fat loss? And you might be thinking, well, it's got to be calories, right? Well, actually, I would say it's not. What I would tell you is that the first thing we need to consider when it comes to fat loss is where you are right now in your life. What are you doing right now? What does your life look like? Are you able to delegate some energy, some mental energy and some physical energy to losing fat? Because if you're in a stressed out situation, if sleep is non-existent, if you're in financial trouble, if your job is up in the air, if you're looking for a job and you're super stressed out, if your relationships are out of control, then those things might take priority right now. And we need to get that squared away first before we get too concerned with trying to chisel body fat away. That being said, if you have a relatively predictable schedule, if you just have the natural stress that comes with life and the ups and downs that happen due to unforeseen circumstances here and there, then that's cool. Then we can move forward. But it's important to acknowledge where we are right now in our life. Otherwise, there's this excitement, there's this hot and cold empathy issue that we run into where we get super excited about something, and then when reality sets in, we realize we can't stick to it. And it might not seem like a damaging process in that moment, but down the road, when you come back to your fat loss goals and you realize, oh man, I haven't achieved this yet. Last time I tried, I failed miserably. Then your self-belief starts to take a hit. And ultimately, you may not think you can achieve it. So I want to make sure that from a life perspective that you're in a good spot. So let's assume that you are, and we can move into the next step, which is talking about adherence and sustainability. Okay. Can you stick to something long term. And so this is the issue where people get tripped up is they read about these diets, right? These low carb, these carnivore, these vegan diets, and all these things that sound cool on the surface. And you think, oh, this is an easy fix to a large problem that I have. Let me rock and roll. We wind up shooting ourselves in the foot because it's something that we can't stick to long enough to see the results that we want. And ultimately what ends up happening is even if we do get some results, we quickly lose them because we can't create a new lifestyle for ourselves. It's just not sustainable. It's not something we can stick to long enough to feel really good about the process that we're going through, right? The new life that we're creating for ourselves. So let's talk about what to consider when it comes to adherence and sustainability, because this is really the big thing. We need to come up with an idea, at least mentally, where we need to be in terms of food choices, what we can stick to in terms of time. Okay. Do we have the time to work out this much? Do we have the flexibility to cook food at home this much? We need to start thinking about what can we actually stick to? What type of approach is going to work long-term? I have what's called my non-negotiables that I tell my clients to write down. And that is, no matter how great the diet is, no matter how great the approach is, what are the things that you're going to do no matter what? No matter what each week? Like, what are the enjoyable things that you and your family like to do every single week, whether it's food related or lifestyle related, that you are never going to skip? Let me give you some examples. So let's say on Friday nights, you and your kids like to go out for ice cream. That's just something that you guys like to do. It's a tradition. And more than likely, you're not going to skip that because it's a lifestyle thing. It helps connection with your family, and you're not going to blow that off just to lose fat. Well, that's something we can build around. Okay. That's something we can definitely build around. And we have to think about those things. We can't go on a non-ice cream diet if that's something you're never going to skip, right? You're just totally going to blow your diet on Friday nights because that's more important mentally to you than the fat loss. Okay. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We all have our non-negotiables. It might be alcohol a couple times a week. It might be pizza night. It might be lunch with coworkers that we want to enjoy. All those things are great, right? Road trips, right? Yeah, totally. These things are awesome and they should be considered when building out your diet, right? You don't want to ignore them completely and then wind up frustrated and confused, and ultimately fail and wonder what the hell happened, right? If you like carbohydrates, if you like pasta and potatoes and rice, those things can be included in your diet. You don't want to go on a low carb diet just because someone else got results simply because you think, oh, I'm going to get fast results. Someone else got it. And completely ignore the fact that your food choices don't match up with your diet choice. Okay. So sustainability and accountability is the first thing. You got to wrap your head around it. You should be able to wake up every day and say, or ask yourself, can I stick to this diet long enough to see the results I want and then be able to keep the results when I move to a maintenance phase inside of my program? And if the answer is yes, then great, you're on the right track. If it's no, well, then we got to fix it, right? And I'm going to talk to you about that. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the second thing. Okay, the second thing you need to be aware of, and this is the big rule when it comes to fat loss, and that is you must burn more calories than you eat to lose fat. Simple. There's no way around it. There is no diet out there where calories don't count. They always count, okay? Because calories are energy. That's all they are. It's just a unit of measurement that tells you how much energy is in a certain food. So energy comes in your body through food. Energy gets used inside the body for different processes, your organs, your brain, working out, walking, all these things take energy. So your energy output, what you use every day to burn fuel, has to be more than what you eat. Because then the body will say, oh, we're missing some energy. Where do we get that energy from? We use body fat. That's it. That's simple. Body fat is just stored energy. That's all it is. There's no secrets. Body fat is just stored energy. All right. So we have to make sure our calories match our goals. If you're not eating the right amount of calories, well, then it doesn't matter what kind of diet you follow. You're not going to get results. How many calories to eat? That varies from person to person, of course. I'll give you a general recommendation to start and to start getting you on the right track. And that first recommendation is to start knowing how many calories you eat, right? Track what you eat normally so you can get an idea. But then if you want a target to shoot for, you could take your current body weight and multiply it by 10 or 11 or 12, somewhere in that range. Unless you're very overweight, then I would bring down to a target body weight instead of your actual body weight and multiply it somewhere between 10 and 12. And that's a good window to shoot for, just to see how your body responds. Okay, if you start losing weight, start getting leaner over the course of a few weeks, then you know you're on the right track. All right. But I can't stress this enough. Calories always count. No matter if you track them or not, they always count. So do not fall for the BS out there that says that the calories don't matter. They totally matter. They're not the only thing that matters, but they are the biggest thing. Okay, you got to get your calories right. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels, and you're going to waste time when it comes to fat loss. And the worst thing that I see people do is they get like super excited about a diet, start putting out a lot of effort, and they have no idea what their calories are, what they should be, and they're not losing weight because they're eating too much food. And they start to get really frustrated and they give up. Okay. So we've talked about 3 things. Okay. This is where you start. 1, where are you right now in your life? Are you at a place where you can commit to a fat loss diet long enough to see the results? Okay. So you need to have moderate amounts of stress, some predictability with your schedule, and be able to mentally commit to the process. If you're not there in your life, that's okay. You can work on maintenance. You can work on not gaining weight, just maintaining your weight. That is a great goal. Or if you are at a good place, you can move into a fat loss phase, because it will be stressful at times. Understanding calories, eating healthy, most of the time, 80, 90% of the time. It's going to take some time and stress. So you need to make sure that you're prepared for that. The second thing is when you choose the foods to eat and the type of nutrition plan to follow, which we're going to talk about in part 2, you need to make sure that it's something you can sustain. Sustainability is crucial because fat loss takes time. It's not a 30-day process. Typically, it's a 3 to 6 to even 8 or 12-month process. So you have to give it some sustainability, right? You have to have some sustainability. Otherwise, if you wake up every day hating your diet and not loving the process and just being super frustrated all the time, you are going to struggle. Okay. Don't pick a diet just because it sounds cool and someone in your office got results, or someone you know online got results, or you saw a picture and someone followed some weird diet and you're like, all right, I'm going to give it a shot, and you hate every second of it. You have to be able to stick to the diet long enough to see results. Okay. The third thing we talked about is when we actually get into the nitty gritty is calories. All right. Calories have to be where you're burning more fuel, more calories every day than you eat. Okay. Long enough to see your body use fat for energy. And we're going to talk about more specific numbers, but a good target to aim for is your goal body weight if you're super overweight, or current body weight if you need to lose 15, 20 pounds, times somewhere between 10 and 12. Okay. That's a good place to start. I'm not saying that's the exact number for you. Everyone's a little different. Best thing to do is track how much you eat right now and then start lowering that amount if you're not losing weight. Okay. But calories are the biggest thing. If you get nothing else right, you need to get your calories right. We'll talk about the type of foods to eat tomorrow: protein, carbs, fats, all that stuff. But for now, those 3 things are the biggest things to consider in part 1 here on creating the perfect fat loss diet. I'll stick around for a couple of minutes, see if you have any questions, and we'll go from there. Any questions for me? I'll hang out for a minute. Let's see. Nathan says I'm slim, but I have some love handles. So Nathan, you would just want to focus on training for muscle. So your workouts should be muscle building focused, and your diet should be fat loss focused. All right. And you can kind of work with both things and fix both ends of the equation. Okay. Andres asked, do you do calisthenics still? Sometimes I do calisthenics. Sure. Ideal weight times 10 equals calorie needed. Yeah, that's a good place to start. Okay. I'm not saying it might be too low. It might be too high. Everyone's a little different, but I want to give you a starting point. And that is a good starting point. Scottish Crypto says I'm on night shift. So it's difficult to maintain any decent diet. I need something easy to prepare as I'm hotel to hotel. Yeah. So yes, your situation is a unique one. But understand this, understand that there's always a way to make it work. So what it'll require is just a little bit more planning. And then once you get in momentum, once you get it right a couple of times, then you're like, okay, now I know what to do. So your biggest asset is going to be predictability, doing the same type of nutrition plan day in and day out on the days that you're doing the night shift. That way there isn't a lot of guesswork and you don't have to sit there wondering, what do I eat? Should I eat this? Should I eat that? It needs to be predictable. All right. And yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It will take a little bit more effort on your part. So you have to have a big reason for doing this so that you can stick to it long enough to make it a new habit. Okay. But there's definitely a way. Everybody has, like, there's nobody I've ever met that can't lose fat. It sometimes just takes more planning. All right. It takes a little bit more upfront work to make sure you have a plan that makes sense for your situation. Okay. More than happy to help. Sounds like this made sense to you guys. So if you have any questions for me, or if this made sense, please let me know. Just leave like a thumbs up, and we'll come back with part 2 tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, because part 2 we'll talk through specific types of calories you need to be eating, food choices, and then in part 3 we'll wrap it up with meal timing, supplements, and workouts. One more question: lifting weights at home. Just barbells or favorite type of program area to follow focus? So sounds like you want to know, can you lift weights at home? Yeah, you can definitely lift weights at home. You can lift weights anywhere. If you have weights, or if you just have your body weight, you can train anywhere. All right. Just barbells? No. I mean, I like to include dumbbells, kettlebells, bands, body weight. What's my favorite type of program? I like a lot of different things. I'm not someone who has like a set type that I like. Right now, I'm on a 3-day full body workout style approach. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I hit my entire body. That'll change soon. Probably in the next 3 weeks, I'll shift to doing a more upper lower body split. But I like to have 4 days a week to do other things like running or biking. Just get outside because it's nice here. It's warm. I don't want to be in the gym 5 days a week. So that's me personally. And honestly, it's just what I can stick to right now. And so the way you should approach your own program is wondering what can you stick to and figuring that out and just doing that, right? There's no magical workout program out there. The one that works is the one that you can stick to. And we have inside of our coaching program tons of different programs because we have different types of clients. We have guys who can train 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week. We have people from all walks of life who are successful in their own chosen field that need variety, travel workouts, hotel workouts, that kind of stuff. Okay. Hopefully I answered your question. All right. So really good stuff. Really appreciate you all watching this part 1. Feel free to comment. I'll come back and check, see if I missed anything, but tomorrow, stay tuned for part 2. It's going to be super, super helpful. And you can save these videos so you know where to start. If you need more guidance right now and you want to like jump into some more resources, you can check out lookgoodnaked.co. All right. That's lookgoodnaked.co. Let me see if I can put this on the screen for you so you know where to go. So I'll add that now. See if that pops up. If not, it's all good. So I'm going to show that. Yeah, there you go. Lookgoodnaked.co. If you're interested in getting some more help, I have a free guide that will map out how to actually set all this stuff up in more detail. It's completely free. So just go over to lookgoodnaked.co. You can check that out. If you're not already on the email list that I have, I send out weekly emails to help you get lean. Okay, get lean and stay lean for life. So if you're interested in getting more help, you can always private message me and my team will take care of you. We have programs, we have coaching. But for now, this is part 1 of 3 on how to set up the perfect fat loss diet. Now that we're starting to get back to somewhat normal life, getting out of quarantine, I know a lot of you are trying to shed the pounds gained over the past few months. I want to help you do that. All right, that is it from me. Talk to you all